Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and welcome to this eerily quiet main menu screen. Yeah, it's very awkwardly quiet. And that's because this is a game that is very early on Steam Early Access. It's currently about $10 or so, but it actually caught my attention because I thought it was something else. And you're going to find out that this is not actually a bad thing. So, what is this game? This is Heliborne. And that name and this background image should suggest to you that it is something to do with helicopters. Yes, it's a game about helicopters. In fact, a lot of helicopters. There's currently, I think, 31 of these, both of Russian origin, such as this Ka-52, and of American origin, such as this AH-1G Cobra, or even an AH-64 Apache. And all of these are realistically modeled and accurate to a certain degree. I mean, there are some slight issues, namely the Seahawk actually has the incorrect undercarriage, but we'll gloss over that. The bulk of them are very realistically done. I mean, look at this Puma. So, how this game actually is played, you play as one of many helicopter pilots, and it's sort of in this arena-style combat thing. I'm going to just demonstrate it to you if I can get into this battle. I think this one might actually be full at the moment. Tell you what, I'm going to cut to when I can actually get into a battle, and then we'll see what's going on. Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Heliborne. So it did take a little bit of time to get into an actual server, mainly because I had some couple issues with the capture. Basically, it crashed the first time and then ran at a ridiculously low frame rate for the second time, and I'm not sure it's entirely recovered at the moment. It normally hits a really steady 60 unless a lot of things are happening at once, and even then, it rarely dips, but at the moment it's running at about 30 to 40 frames a second. Not sure why. It wasn't doing this yesterday, but it's currently doing it right now, so, you know, early access woes and all that. So here we are in a Bell UH-1D. The iconic helicopter from the Vietnam War, and this is a Vietnam map. This is, I believe, Gulf of Tonkin? I can't remember. Either way, this is a domination-style game mode, and this is the bulk of the game modes at the moment. There are only 3 maps, but they're all played in relatively the same way. So, this is a match that's already in progress, and that's what we've kind of had to deal with. So, you can see at the top there, the team that I'm on is listed in orange, and the enemy team is in blue, and we're pretty close to winning, but the blue team is kind of making a comeback. So, there are these points on the map. They're on the bottom right, so you can see one I'm approaching right now. This is the rearmost base. So, how this game is played is that we have to capture all of these bases, and how we do that is by directing an armored convoy to them. So, pretty much exactly like how they did it in Vietnam. Although, vets might say otherwise, but from a strategic point of view, it was generally supposed to be this way anyway. So, what we do as helicopters, we have a bunch of different roles. Now, the Huey is just one of 5 helicopters that we can choose in this particular map, and all of the maps are based on different eras. There's even one in Afghanistan where you have slightly more modern helicopters to choose from as well. So, what we have to do is we go to each of these bases. Now, these are ones that I have captured, or our team has captured already. And we have to go and deliver troops to the base to capture it. But first, we have to neutralize that base, kind of like a flag capture, kind of like, think of like battlefield domination style maps and that sort of thing. Very similar to that. So, there are a bunch of... Oh god, we're taking ground fire already. So, you can see they're listed with those diamonds. Those are air defenses. And we have enemy helicopters shooting at me as well, so I'm going to dive down to the deck, and hopefully I could avoid some of that fire as well and draw them to our friendly AA. So we have to destroy those anti-air defenses, and that will neutralize the base, and then... Oh, he's coming to get me. And then, when we land on the base, we'll deploy troops which will take up those positions again and defend the base. And that's half of a capture. What that does is it triggers a movement of an armored convoy down one of the many lanes which are listed on the map there. So you can see all the interconnecting roads there in white. And I just got killed. Alright, I'm going to go into something a little bit smaller now, just so I can show you the lay of the land for now. I'm going to talk about the controls after this, so stay tuned for that. So, yes, the sound, you may have noticed, does cut out a little bit from time to time. That is not an issue with the recording, the game is just like that. Certain sounds tend to cause it to completely shut down the sound for seemingly unknown reasons. And there are a bunch of audio glitches here and there, audio being the main issue with the game right now. So you can see there are a bunch of little white lines on the map, and these correspond to actual roads. So from this base, being the central one, we can launch convoys going up this bridge, which will go up to this base, and then they'll sort of sit there. Like you can see, those are sitting there, waiting to move to the next spot. Now these convoys can't cross to another lane. It's very similar to a MOBA in that aspect. So if you want to push a lane, you have to go in advance of the convoy, deploy troops, and capture the base, and then the convoy will start moving, and you have to defend it until it reaches there. If the convoy gets destroyed, it'll deploy from the main base again, so you lose that momentum. So you kind of have to keep them going. At the same time, all the helicopters perform different roles. This scout helicopter has a much bigger view range, and we can see enemies from much further off. However, I don't carry troops. And it's the same deal with gunships like the Cobra. We don't actually carry any troops, so we can't capture bases, but what we can do is help to support an attacking force. So right now this Mi-24 is trying to assault this base because, well, they can. These are gunships that actually carry troops, so they are able to do some quick captures and defend themselves, which is a little bit of a strong point. So what we can do with the scout as well is we can deploy SAM troopers. So if I just make a landing here at this mountain, it's not the best location. Just trying to make a landing here. Here we go. It's sort of landed. And I've hit E, and now we've got a little trooper that's landed there. And he carries a surface-to-air missile, so he will try to target enemy helicopters as they fly past. Now these can be defeated with flares or by very evasive maneuvers, but generally it is pretty effective at damaging enemies. So there are pretty strategic places that you can put these, like tops of mountains to give them a little bit more range, or even concealing them in the bushes and things like that, or among the trees. So it's up to you where you want to put them, and you can seemingly put them anywhere actually. You can even drop them on bases if you want to. But that's sort of the flow of the game. You go in advance, deploy the troops, and then cover the convoy so it can go and secure that place. And every place that you secure will slowly gain you points, provided you own the majority of them, as far as I can tell. This has been known to glitch out a little bit from time to time, but for the most part, when it works pretty well. Okay, so currently the only damage indication is just above the map there. You can see that health bar there. There's no visible damage yet, which is a little bit disappointing because something that looks as realistic as this. But for the most part, we can sort of look past that for now. I mean, this is only, I think, version number 0.26 or something like that, so it's really early in development. Now, I'm going to talk about the controls for a moment, because the controls are something that really surprised me. It takes a little bit of getting used to. The spacebar and the left shift are your altitude controls. Space to go up, left shift to go down. But these control your engine throttle. Ooh, I almost crashed into it. And your mouse controls what's known as the cyclic on helicopters, which is actually the pitch of the rotor blade disc. So if we want to control our movement, we can actually use W, A, and D. In fact, those are the controls that are told to you. The W, A, and D, in fact, controls your movement. W being forward, S being back, A and D being strafe left and strafe right. However, pitching forward, like this, will cause you to go forward as well. It is a helicopter. So you can perform maneuvers that are akin to what real-world helicopters actually would be able to do. So, for example, if I want to make a very sharp turn, I could just look this way and do that, which basically uses the rudder an appropriate amount of roll control there. Or I can hit A and bank into it and make a very sharp turn like that. And of course, not every helicopter can actually do that. Similarly, if I want to come to a stop, simply pulling back, pulling down on the throttle a little bit, and we are now going slightly backwards. So the controls are very, very realistic, actually. And for the most part, anyway, for all I've said about the audio glitches and everything, the helicopters do actually sound quite nice, and the weapons, for the most part, do sound quite okay. I think the sound assets could be cleaned up a little bit. They're a little bit too echoey for my liking, but they seem to work quite well, and the particle effects seem a little bit basic for now, but that's okay. So I've got a grenade launcher on the front of this helicopter. I'm going to see if I can zip in over here and evade the gunfire enough to maybe take out one of the defenses. No, didn't manage to do that. So just going to bob and weave over here. I have taken a little bit of damage. Of course, one of the strengths of the scout helicopters is that they do have a lot of maneuverability. So you can avoid quite a lot of damage. Not enough damage, though. Not enough avoidance there. Alright, so I'm going to jump into probably one of the biggest helicopters in the game right now, and that is the ACH-47 Chinook. Now, every helicopter has weapons. You won't be stuck with just a transport helicopter. Now, I know that that is more realistic, but the game is still a game, so you are still given the option of doing things. And this beast of a helicopter carries 30 men. So it can very easily take over quite a number of bases, and it's no slouch. It has weapons too. What it does lack, however, is the ability to evade fire. It is very, very large and not very maneuverable. In fact, if I pull back right now, it does take quite a bit of time to stop and turn around, and it will get outmaneuvered by pretty much anything. So you probably won't want to go in without an escort. That said, however, it has front-mounted grenade launcher, rockets, and even 30mm cannons with explosive rounds. So it can still do some damage on its own. I'm just firing at this convoy over here. It didn't do a huge amount of damage. And we are taking fire now. Can just use the cannons and try to remove some of these air defenses here. And we are sinking quite badly. You can actually collide with the terrain. You can't collide with trees, that would be a little bit too difficult. But, oh, we got shot down. But you can collide with the terrain, so if you crash into a mountain, you are going to die, make no mistake. Alright, let's jump into the Huey Cobra here and do some gunship work. So this is probably what a lot of people will want to jump into very, very quickly. And this has... It's alright, if I hold down right click, I can actually move the camera independently, and you'll see the turret actually turns. I can still shoot off in that direction, so it is as realistic as you would expect. You still have that, and if I hit C, I can go into first person and manually move the turret around like that. So I can make some pretty precise shots. Going to try and shoot at this guy over here if I can. There is a little bit of lag going on, and that's to do with the current state of the servers now, because of course there aren't a lot of people playing yet. So and given the time that I'm currently playing this at, there is not a lot of people on the US server at the moment, so we're just kind of having to make do with the number of players we have right now. Of course, the hits are not quite registering there, I don't think. So I'm just going to try and shoot the rockets at him and see if that works. Well, apparently he crashed and I got shot down by someone else. But overall, it's quite enjoyable. I mean, I'm the sort of person that likes helicopters quite a lot. I always find them fascinating machines, and I've always been really into the sort of lore, if you will. So this is my sort of thing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this when it's finally complete, because the core gameplay, at least, in terms of the way the map sort of plays out and the way that you kind of influence the battle in a way. The amount of teamwork required, I think, works quite nicely. I'm just trying to lead the target a little bit here. The weapons are not hit scan. You do have to aim in front. There is quite a significant lag in it, actually, if we look. You can see it is actually chasing the cursor quite significantly, so something to bear in mind there. Of course, turreted weapons may be able to engage a little bit faster, but then there's projectile speed and all that. So, a lot of tactics you got to employ in this. And I got shot down by ground fire again. Alright, one that I haven't shown off yet. Let's go with the miniguns, actually. So this is the UH-1B. This has slightly less troop carrying capacity and slightly more reduced in terms of its armament. But it does have these miniguns. And this, of course, is a classic Huey gunship. So it really depends on what sort of role you want to play. You can just go with an aerial assault helicopter with loads of troops and try to capture the bases, or you can go for the purpose-built gunship like the Huey Cobra and try to take out all of the base defenses. That's something you can do as well. Or you can go in with a scout and try to get rid of the enemy there. Oh, he's really maneuverable. Far more maneuverable than I am. Well, that's the way it's going to be. We'd better be in a recon helicopter as well. So this is just one map, though. There are two others with different selections of helicopters as well. And I've noticed that the current selection of maps do not make use of all of the helicopters in the game just yet. Currently, there is no friends list or friends private matchmaking and so on. That doesn't exist yet. So hopefully that's coming soon. But given the number of rooms available, it is fairly easy to find your friends if you choose to play this with a group, as this will probably be a more team-oriented game. It is definitely something that would be, I guess, it would probably benefit from being able to play with a group. So that's something that hopefully we'll be able to have. And that you just heard was a missile warning. I managed to dodge one, but I got hit by the other, so that's something there. You can actually make some very, very tight maneuvers with the OH-6 here. So I'm just going to try and land right here. Hopefully I can. I don't think I can. I have noticed that the SAD controls are a little bit better for landing and so on. Let's see if I can deploy a SAM trooper here. This doesn't seem to want to let me do it. But our base here has been neutralized. It does appear that we've lost all of our points. But yes, this is early access still, so there's going to be bugs, there's going to be glitches, there's going to be incomplete things, there's placeholders everywhere, and it's not a finished product. But, that being said, I'm really enjoying it so far. And if you do like what you've seen so far, do feel free to check it out. Link is in the description down below. My name is Panzer. Thank you very much for watching. This is Heliborne. It's a helicopter them up. I'll see you next time.